Hey folks, welcome back to Lessons Unplanned, the realities of teaching. I'm back with Tressa and Jake. Notice the festive gear they got on.
Yes. We're very festive.
Very festive.
Today.
I'm supporting little school pride today.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Today was a red day.
I didn't know it was
Themed Spirit Week.
Listen.
Pajama days tomorrow, just so you know.
I'm just lucky I'm here. So today we're going to talk about teaching in 2025. It's changed probably since we were in school and even when we started our professions. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be a good topic to dive into, talk about how the professions evolved, maybe talk about the pros and cons. Hopefully, probably a few more pros than cons, but we never know. So let's first off start by saying, Tressa, when did you start teaching?
My first year of teaching was 2001.
Same.
2002 school year. Yep.
Same. Jake, how about you?
2003.
2003. Oh, he's a baby.
Aww.
Aww. Aww. We could tell stories about Jake.
Such a youngin'.
Yeah. So 24 years?
Yep.
22 years?
Yeah.
So we've been at it a couple decades. So
A little while.
we've seen some things change.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember when graphing calculators were like
New thing.
huge new.
Yeah.
People are mad that we were letting kids use graphing calculators. And I'm like, now it's AI.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll have to do an episode on AI.
No boy.
So thinking back over your couple decades, what does it mean to be a teacher today versus 10 or 15 years ago? What does it mean to be? What's different?
I feel like I'm more of a disciplinarian. I feel like it's less about the kids coming in and being ready to absorb the knowledge that I have and more about putting out the behaviors. Kids will come in and not want to do any work, and they make no qualms about even pretending. They don't pretend. They put their head down, shove the paper off the desk, and just sit there, and you can't make them do anything. So finding the balance between how do you do that and how do you teach and how do you have students that do that and how do you get them to do the work, that's the hardest part of teaching right now for me.
Right. And that's changed, right?
It was not like that at the beginning of my career at all.
Right. And you've been in both the elementary, middle, and high school?
I've taught up to and including 8th grade.
Okay. So not high school per se, but middle school, high level.
Right. And I also taught, I did a lot of work with high school students outside of school as far as leadership activities and things. So it's definitely strange to see the difference between how kids react to wanting to learn or not wanting to learn. That's strange. Although there are a great number of kids who still want to learn and they come and they're ready and they're excited and they are sponges and they ask great questions. I just was saying yesterday, I think, to my husband, my first period class asks great questions. I mean, the questions they ask, sometimes we're behind in what we're supposed to be doing because they're asking such great questions. And we have great conversations. I love that. And I told them that today. I said, you guys make me so proud. But not every class period does that. And there are kids in that class that don't want to do the work, but they're brought in by the kids that do. So it's great to be able to foster that. But when you have a class that maybe has a very strong personality that kind of sets everybody off, or you have a couple of students who are helping each other to not want to learn, it's difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Jake, Tressa being a classroom teacher, you're more of the phys ed, so your environment's completely different. What's changed for you? Or do you agree with her or disagree?
Oh, no, I agree on every front. And, I did teach some of the traditional health class. And, that's just ran into a student who a little bit ago was like, I had you for health. And, he brought up that one health class that every kid remembers. And I'm like, really? That's the one you remember?
The one.
He's
that's that's the memory you're going to take forever.
He goes, I'll never forget. But, I had a lot of fun with that. But it's definitely changed. I mean, the culture of the students that we are handling today is extremely dynamic. And, I have the easiest job in the world. I tell people all the time. I know it probably isn't, but to me it is. I have a ton of fun every single day. But when my day as a phys ed teacher is consumed with paperwork, and tracking students down and making sure that I'm meeting the needs of each student, because we used to get a list of medical things and, accommodations for students. And I'm not against any of that. But what I'm trying to highlight is that when I'm overwhelmed with those for students, that I have to meet their needs. And I enjoy being able to do that and getting them to see that they can do things in my end of the building. But there weren't as many when I first started.
Right.
There weren't nearly as many. And, we see so much of that now. And, for me to be overwhelmed, I can't imagine what's going on in other buildings and even down the hall for me. And I talk about that a lot. If I'm overwhelmed when I'm not grading papers every day and I'm not doing all those other things, like, wow, what's it like in other rooms?
I think you guys bring up a point, and I'll take it from a different perspective is, well, first of all, I agree, because I hear it all the time from professionals like Craig. It's every day. It's I'm trying to teach, but I'm also trying to manage a behavior or an environment that it's not conducive to learning. And public school is you take all.
Yep.
Right. We don't get to pick and choose. We don't get to kick them out just because they're generally being naughty. So they are very challenging, and I think there's a root cause to that. I think there's the loss of respect for the profession outside of our schools, so that I think when we were all students, and I'm not going to speak for your parents, but my father, he scared the life out of me because he said, I'm going to believe the teacher first, second, third, and last, so don't ever.
Yep.
And I never did, because that's how my family approached education. Right. And teachers were held in high regard, and I'm not entirely sure if that is still the case.
I think you're right. I think it's a social thing too. Like there's the cultural aspect of teaching.
Yeah.
Like kids, they see the pop culture and they're like, oh, well, why am I not doing that? Why am I not an influencer? Why am I not a gamer on YouTube? Like, why I don't have to do this. I can do that. That's a big part of the problem too, is that they don't respect what we are trying to give them.
And I don't see this a lot, but I do see this. And to me, it echoes across a lot of the problems that we see with our students and where we get performance in the classroom. And this problem is, if I'm doing a unit where the child doesn't want to do it, then they give me an excuse as to why they're not going to do it. They shut down. I can't do that. I hear the I can'ts all the time. And I tell them, I said, I don't want them to swear in my class, but I would rather you swear than say I can't, because that mentality, the psychology of what happens with an I can't statement is an immediate shutdown. Yep. And it's the excuses that we see for the lack of performance in our rooms. I can't do that homework. I don't understand this. I can't write a paper. I can't do this. Well, it means I don't have to do it now. It goes beyond that in today's world, where you're talking about your dad and our parents. I see parents today, not all. It's a small percentage, but sure. I see this, and it's a growing percentage compared to when I started. That you don't want to do that. I'll write the teacher a note. I'll send him an email. And tell them that you can't do that. You can't do that because of this. You can't do that. And I mean, how
do you fight
with
that?
With my students, I can take a doctor's note.
Yeah.
I can take a doctor's note. And there are some that, some battles you choose not to go down that path. But, it's a lot.
You probably hit the nail right on the head too, because I think along with what you guys see in the classrooms and in your health class or phys ed class is a lot of the same things that administrators battle, right? It's their days are consumed with 2 or 3 kids, right? Who just are adverse to being part of the community. Yeah. I would say that just generally just don't want to be a part, have a lot of trauma. I get all that. Like, listen, trauma's not new. Right. It's a new label, newer label. I'm going to say it's been around a long time, but we label that a lot easier now than probably in our generation. We just had a kid who had a tough life.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of that is family based. Parents don't want to fight the fight with their kids, so they'll do whatever it takes to kind of make it easier for them too.
Right. Yep.
And I'm not blaming parents, but I mean, we all kind of get to our limits.
Right.
I wish we didn't.
and as a parent,
it's tough.
It's hard to watch your kid go through tough times.
Yep.
It's hard to not step in
yeah.
and say, let me help you.
Right.
You sit back and watch the struggle, knowing that the struggle is going to equal growth.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out. They're going to be okay.
Yep.
And they'll throw the safety word at us
Yep.
in school, and I'm like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll get past this.
And I think the difference 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, is we were still partners with parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that there have been some changes, and I'm not blaming COVID, but, I do think that era where, education got politicized, we have become a little bit more on the other side of the borders and become antagonistic at times. And but yeah, I definitely think that's changed. I definitely think one of the things that are out there is technology. That's changed how learning's been done. Right. We were joking about the graphing calculator, but truthfully, technology has made a big impact on learning. So right. My next question, and Jake, I know you're phys ed and health, but technology has to have a play in education for you. Mm-hmm. How has technology changed your classroom? Or for better or worse? You tell me.
For me, I would love to allow the kids to use their phones in class, to have training apps and do that. But I'm also not naive and was not born last night. And that's not what they're going to be doing during the entire class. So, there are benefits in my end where they could be able to use that as my training is, my workout is on an app,
right?
And that's every morning for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some students that do that. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to have others that are in the corner of the weight room or, in the other side of the gym that are, doing a little TikTok video or whatever, or watching them.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with TikTok,
flipping
people.
Through a feed, and as we sit here, but it's, there is a use for it. So I do bring it in for nutrition. Mm-hmm. and work with the students on how to track. Mm-hmm. And I have them go through and track for a week and to show them how good or bad their nutrition is. Mm-hmm. And to highlight, this sets your mood, and we go through all that, not to get into a nutrition lesson, but to use that tool and how to use it properly.
It's another podcast.
Right. I know. Oh, it'd be so good. No. I'll bring a bowl of apples.
To the tens of you that watch this every week, we'll get a health podcast going later.
Yeah. So it is a good tool. There is a use for it, but I really have to restrict it in there because of the other things that they want to get it out and use it for.
Right.
For sure.
I think for me, thinking back to the beginnings of my career, right? My technology, my first year of teaching, I taught at a middle school in Kansas. It was a Catholic school.
Okay.
And I taught, you name it, I taught it. I taught sex ed, I taught religion, I taught drama, I taught geometry, I taught language arts, I taught everything.
Before there was an app for all that.
Right. Well, right, yeah. and where did I use technology in that classroom? I would show them, we're learning about this specific skill. I want to show you a video about it. I got to Baltimore. We didn't have technology in Baltimore. I'll just be honest. We didn't have smart boards. I had one computer, and that was my computer, but I didn't use it. But then when I came here to the district and thinking about the beginnings of my world history teaching, I used it to show slideshows of, pictures that I was trying to show them of different artifacts or different, whatever. Eventually, I started being able to use the online museums. So you could go do I
remember those.
Yeah, you could go to the British Museum and you could say, okay, here's the online, here's the online visit that we're going to have today. Or, and now I can use, in the classroom, I can use these short video clips that, I'm not dumb. And I know these kids have these, 20-second kind of bursts of paying attention. So I'm like, hey, let's pay attention to this right now for 20 seconds and then let's talk about it. So they have to then be critical thinkers of the technology. Yeah. But I will say that I do not have any of my work online. Mm-hmm. I teach from the classroom. So if the kids are in the class, they're getting the lecture, they're getting the notes, they're having the discussions. They're not having to go online and read an article and then type in their answers or whatever. We do that, but we do that through other avenues.
Right.
Not because I don't believe in it. I mean, at points I did use my Google Classroom all the time. And I had the kids here's a document I want you to read and then I want you to analyze it. I used to do that a lot, but now what they need is less technology and more interactions with people. So we interact together. And that's even if that's the only period they get it in history, I'm okay with that, because that's 40 minutes or 45 minutes that they have that they're interacting with me as a person. And I can say, well, hey, there's a website to check out. Here's the website name. When you have time in study hall, look it up. And then they're doing something that's going to support the curriculum using the technology, but they're not sitting in front of a computer for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely changed.
It's definitely changed. My perspective on the use of technology has changed. 2001, started teaching, love technology. In fact, I was a technology coach back when the Classrooms for the Future grant came out. Like, I was the guy who tried everything. When I first became the curriculum director, superintendent, I was like, we got to teach kids how to use their cell phones wisely. And I'm going to talk about cell phones. And now I'm like, nope, no cell phones. Like, let's take a step back. We have learned that there's too much time on a screen.
Yep.
So, it's like that balance. If parents are allowing technology time or screen time, and then we are, so you're doubling screen time in a day, we might have to take a conscious effort to step back from it. Yep. And I do think, like, it has a useful purpose. And like you said, it's a resource. Now I'm guiding the learning as much as I'm not just delivering the learning. Right. But now it's also a distraction, because I love that study. Like, there was a study done where a kid had a phone in his pocket. They tracked how many times it buzzed in 60 minutes, and it was like 100 times. And like every time your pocket buzzes, you can't not be distracted.
Right.
It's a psychological thing. You cannot not be distracted. Right. Like double entendre there. But at the end of the day, I think we got to walk back a little bit from technology. So that's where I'm at, and that's how technology has changed. It was a useful tool. It still is, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
It is creating brain rot. I believe in that. I believe in what a thing is called digital dementia. Yep. I encourage everybody, all 30 of you that listen to our podcast, research digital, tens and tens of you. Digital dementia is a real thing. Yeah. Yeah. I see it very closely. I see it in kids. I see it when I walk through the halls, and you guys see it with the fact that you just mentioned it. They got 20-second snippets to get their attention.
Yes.
And you probably see it in your world, Jake, because you see the health aspect of kids change, or that they feel very uncomfortable because they don't have their phone, because they can't put them in their gym shorts as they're trying to exercise.
Right.
One of the biggest focuses in my end because of it is posture.
Yeah. Oh, what is that? Text neck?
Yeah, like this. That's all they do.
Yep.
Got a bad case of text neck. You got to work on that, kid.
Yeah.
You probably have a workout routine for that.
And then we think of too, and from my end is the health of their vision.
Oh, true. Yeah, if they're not wearing the blue light glasses, you're holding that phone. There is.
It's huge.
It's huge. These things look goofy because they're blue light.
This is silly to say, and I think that
There's no silly things to say,
it made
unless
me think
it's silly.
Of this. We were talking the other day about, this is seriously silly. We're talking about ancient Greece right now in my class. I said, have you seen the movie Hercules, like the Disney movie Hercules? And like two kids raised their hand. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Remember when we were kids and we had the videotape and then you had to rewind it? And then it would break because you'd rewind. And then thinking it today, it's like they have it on YouTube, and it's like in 5-minute increments, and then there's a commercial, and then there's 5 minutes in commercial. Isn't that crazy?
I have a student who currently has not watched Home Alone.
Really?
There are so many memes they're missing right now. They don't get it.
You've not
so much life out there.
And she's like, no, I don't even watch TV. I was like,
now we're showing our age.
How they entertain themselves has changed too. It doesn't mean that they are not watching television or using an iPad or computer. It's just not watching television.
Not watching television.
Right, yeah.
It's different.
So let's wrap this up with a introspective question. What do you worry the most about for the next generation of students?
I'll tell you, it's easy for me. I worry most. I mean, when we just think of their health. Their mental health and their ability to handle life, the world, what it's really like. It's getting to the point where once they get out there, the reality of having to put their phones down, get a job, be away from it, take on adult tasks, it's going to be extremely hard for a few of these generations until we're able to back off a little bit more and get a grip on it from the top down.
I say
above us.
hard work works all the time, right? To that question, what's your greatest fear about the next generation of teachers?
Ooh.
Don't worry, Tressa, I'm coming to you.
I think for them is understanding that it's not going to be kind of like when we came in, like, oh, the kids are going to be super eager to learn and all of that. It's going to be putting out the 1 million fires that walk through the door each day. You know, and that are they prepared for that side of it? Because there's so much outside of the content that every person in the building does, from our staff members to our secretaries to our aides, everybody, to administrate, like everybody, that you don't get prepared for that in college.
You have to be a multifaceted, mild expert at a lot of things, and it's not simply the art of teaching. Yeah. There's a science to it now, and I don't know if that's terrifying too, because there's so many things you got to get through to that. Tressa, for you.
Well, not only that, it's the science of it. It's that everyone's different, so the science is different for every kid.
Correct.
So now you're having to be an expert in a lot of things because you have to be able to deliver that science.
Right. I always say the art. Teaching is an art.
Yes.
Right? And you can hone your craft, but now you also have to be a scientist because you got to study, you got to experiment, you got to differentiate, you got to do all these things. So what are you most worried about for the next generation of teachers, Tressa?
Well, I think going back to students, I think my worst fear for them is that I'm afraid that they're going to lose that love for learning. And I don't see that yet, because there are so many kids that still love to learn. I loved to learn. As a kid, I loved to learn. I didn't care what it was. If I was learning something, I loved it. I had so much fun. I don't want kids to miss out on that love of learning because education is so different. And I worry that will eventually happen. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to become this, horribly dark society where nobody likes to do anything, but I'm afraid for that.
Yeah.
And then as far as teachers go, I'm really concerned about, looking, because I have college age kids and then I also have younger kids.
Sure.
So if I'm thinking of my youngest, who's 11, by the time he is my age, right, and he's out in the world, if he was a teacher, what would I worry about? I worry about his safety because those schools are safe. The outside of school is not. And, we are we are public officials. I mean, really we are. The people see us like that. Like we are serving the people of our community. And if one person doesn't like you or one family has beef with you of some kind, your safety outside of school, nobody's walking around with bodyguards, right? So, I mean, that scares me. Looking at our society and how we're kind of moving forward, the safety of educators in the future really kind of scares me because where are we going with this, right? Not only that, but I'm also worried about in the classroom, knowing what we're up against now and knowing how society and kids and people are changing, what's that really going to mean? Like as far as behaviors and the support you're going to get, because there are families who support us and are fantastic with, oh, my kid did this. What are we going to do about it? They don't say, what are you going to do about it? Or what am I going to, they say, what are we going to do about it? But that's dwindling. There's not as many parents that are doing that. What's it going to be like in 20 years?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like the partnership, right? You can't do it all. Like education, I think back to like the whole purpose of public education was to fill the gaps of what parents didn't do at home.
Right. And now it's the other way around.
Yeah. And you said something about teachers, right? I couldn't agree more. My greatest fear for the next generation of students is that they will not know how to interact in a face-to-face conversation or a face-to-face interaction, coping skills, tolerance, and all those things. And I'm not saying we all have to love each other. And please, I'm not that guy. But I am saying, like, I am really worried about the fact that we are not going to have the skills to do things face-to-face.
At all.
Right? Because it's like we are turning into a world that wants to hide behind a computer. And we want to immediately pull ourselves away out of any uncomfortable situation and not persevere through. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not a drill sergeant. I feel the same way sometimes. I want to just turtle up. I mean, if you live in Bradford County, I should be living under a rock lately. I mean, Facebook has not been my friend. The newspapers have not been my friend. You guys know all that. or the district's friend. But at the end of the day, nobody's ever engaged me in person.
Right. Of course not.
Nobody. And the teachers, the biggest fear I have for them is that their day is going to have less and less impact in a positive way for them to come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're the superintendent, do something about it. That battle is bigger than me.
Yes, it is.
It's bigger than me. It's societal. Like, I try to create pathways to make things better, but that is a societal change that needs to happen. It's a grassroots thing.
Yep.
I can only do that much, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue that fight. But truthfully, right, that's a bigger rift in our society than people really recognize right now.
Correct.
Well, and if you talk to anybody that does discipline in a school, when they answer these questions, I can almost guarantee you the shift is going to go from what you said, where your dad, your parents, our generation of being raised supported that educational structure and the people in the building, to now it's the other way around. The kids are contacting home and they're going in and they're going, what did you do to my kid? Like, you're instantly on the defense.
Nothing's worse than you getting blindsided because a kid texted or called a parent in the bathroom before you had like, I didn't know what I did. What did I do?
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't know you slighted someone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like getting called down to the office and you're like, they just walked out of my room.
Right. I just signed him a pass to go to the bathroom.
thankful for the security cameras and stuff in the building.
And don't get me started on the fact that trust but verify from parents, but they trust and believe their kids sometimes. And that's not all parents. I want to talk about the small percentage. Well,
it is.
At the end of the day, teaching in 2025 is a different environment than it's ever been, folks. And I think the reality is we do it because we love it. We do it besides the fact that there are challenges. And we get to have therapy right here today.
Yeah.
It was more like therapy than it was a podcast.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, with that, folks, teaching in 2025 is hard.
Yeah.
Lessons Unplanned to the realities of teaching. Stay tuned for our next episode coming up, probably in a week.